Welcome to Rat Girls Podcast. I'm Abigail Jensen, and we are joined today by
Jesse Towns. Oh, sorry.
You want to say your own name? How would you introduce yourself?
How would I introduce myself?
Yeah, like I don't know you.
Just like a multi-hyphenate, multi-talented actor, writer, singer, director, producer, all-around Renaissance man, really.
Just like, would you say you're a really high value man?
I would say that I'm the highest value of man.
That's like the most, as soon as I know not to trust whatever a video is about, like on Instagram, as soon as they start saying like, this is how you get a high value man or high value woman.
Or how you get a high value, or like how you act alpha.
Yeah.
Seeing so many people throw the term beta around.
And you know the next generation is going to be Gen Beta.
Yeah.
Yep. Which is hilarious.
Yep.
All these men are like, you shouldn't be a beta, and then like
And
jokes
then they literally
on them.
have to be.
Yeah, there's gonna be a ton of them coming
So
up.
many weak men coming up.
Yeah, if we had a kid, they would be Gen Beta, and I'd
Wow.
make sure they were weak as fuck.
I'd say, son, you're beta, and you are also beta.
And you're a beta.
Yeah.
But actually, like that's positive because when people start saying alpha, I'm like, what are we talking about?
Did the alpha beta thing start coming around with relatively recently?
I think so. I think it
Okay.
was like the Andrew Tate of it all, toxic masculinity,
Yeah.
all that glorious stuff that
Yeah.
exists in our society.
I love that stuff.
Speaking of living in a society,
Go on.
we evacuated from the fires, but we're back.
We did.
LA, it's very sad.
Yes.
And
it is.
I just feel like we should talk about it for a hot second because we haven't yet on the pod. I don't know. It was just like
spoiler alert. I was going to send it to the sewers in a little bit.
Oh, you're going to send fire to the sewer?
No, not fire, because I think we still need fire. But yeah, no, it was awful. And for the record, we were very, very lucky. Like even our evacuation, we could have come back. We chose not to because of the air quality. But like the fire that broke out right up the street from us was contained within 24 hours.
But you went and said, there's a fire like 200 feet from us or whatever it was. I'm going to go towards it. And I called you. I was like, get back here.
I did not realize it was as close. I didn't realize it was as close as it was. Yes. I was surprised to find that.
Also, I feel like evacuating is so interesting because it makes you realize like what you find important, like in that moment. Because I was like, oh my God, we're leaving. Like our house might burn down. I got to get my podcast mics. And then I was like, and then I thought like, no one needs to hear me yap. Like,
the first thing I tried to grab was my wife and my dog and food and water.
And I was like, my podcast mics.
And she was like, who are you? I'm just trying to grab my podcast mic.
I got to get attention from the internet.
Thank God we still had our phones for that.
Yeah, thank God. No, but we like left in a hurry and our bags were like random assortment of shit in them.
Mm-hmm.
And we realized when we got to where we evacuated to, we only brought one hair tie and you and I both need hair ties. So we spent time sharing it back and forth like the scrunchie.
You want to know what else we spent time sharing?
Oh, a toothbrush.
Well, yes, but so we get there, and as we've gone out so quickly, I didn't bring a coat. And in Joshua Tree, we evacuated in Joshua Tree, and it was really, really cold.
Yeah.
It was cold because of the wind. And my gal had a ton of sweatshirts and a nice warm coat. All I had were short sleeve shirts. And so I'm like, can I borrow a sweatshirt or a coat? And she said, no, I'm wearing them. And so then I go to Walmart to buy myself a beanie. Guess who ends up using the beanie?
Well, it looked better on
The
me.
hypocrisy of women, I tell you.
I tell you. You're such an alpha. You got to talk about how to find a high value woman. And
You have
I'm not
no
one.
idea the troubles that a man goes through silently.
Sounds like they're pretty loud to me. Won't stop yapping about it on podcasts.
Yeah.
Speaking of yapping, I think we just get straight into our mean cheese.
Okay.
Our main cheese, because there's a lot to talk about here. We are talking about what men think about in the bedroom.
Whoa.
And you're our resident man.
Yeah, I am. I'm so
Our in-house man.
I think about football and fucking Coors Light.
Yeah, that's cool. So I think we're going to do this Family Feud style where I asked the internet questions that women wanted to know the answer to.
Okay.
And men answered them. So I'm going to ask you the question, and then you're going to say how you think men answered it, and then I'll read you the actual answers.
Okay.
And then at the end, we'll go through some like general thoughts that everyone, yeah, because it's kind of exposing you.
In Family Feud, do they give you the demographic of people that responded?
No.
So it's
just like 100 people on the street.
I don't know if it's like rednecks or...
No.
Okay.
This is just like the average hot-blooded American male.
Warm-blooded American male.
I bleed red, white, and blue, baby.
I love it. I love it. Okay.
And then at the end, we'll go over just some like general thoughts people sent in.
Just some casual thoughts.
Okay.
Okay.
So in the bedroom.
Oh, are we starting?
Yeah.
Do I get a point? Do I get points if I get it right?
Sure.
Well, how many points do I need to win?
50.
Are there 50 questions?
No, you get 7 points an answer.
Okay. Are there more than 7 questions?
And if you do it extra good, you get a star, which is worth 10 points.
Wow. Okay, great.
It's foolproof rating scale.
Who chooses if it's extra good?
Me.
Okay. That puts me at a disadvantage.
Okay. Men, in the bedroom, do you compare us to past partners? How do you think people responded?
Oof, that's a tough one. It's hard because in Family Feud, they're asking objective facts, like name a body part that starts with L or whatever. Here we're talking opinions.
Yeah, just get over the Family Feud of it all. That was
well, you said Family Feud.
An example.
Which got me pretty excited. I will say that the majority of men said not on purpose, but sometimes it'll pop up.
Okay. Overwhelmingly, men said no. They do not compare.
Wait, compare, or do you think of other women?
Compare us to past partners.
Oh, you asked, I'm sorry, I misunderstood the question. I thought you said think of other women.
No, compare us to past partners.
Okay, then let me go back.
You're just exposing yourself.
I would say, well, I guess you already said it. The answer would be no.
You don't compare us to past partners.
No. I have. I'll be honest, I have, but no.
Okay, yeah. Overwhelmingly, people said no, they don't. Someone said if we like you, there's no thought to compare you to other people. And then someone said, I don't compare on purpose, but sometimes it's an intrusive thought. And then someone else said, I do not compare, but I have a lot of anxiety that I'm being compared.
Oh, interesting. The man said he has anxiety. Yeah, I've definitely felt the anxiety of being compared. But I think the first one is what I agree with most, where if I'm enjoying myself, I'm not thinking about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Do you have anxiety about being compared to my book boyfriends?
Are we talking about your ACOTAR guys? Are we talking about the high phase?
The high phase?
No, because there's nothing I can do about that. They're perfect.
You could buy some. Yeah, they growl a lot.
They can control
snarl.
Themselves unless they're in the bedroom.
Yeah, exactly. That was actually good.
Thank you. What do you mean that was good?
Like you could read an audiobook with that voice.
Okay, give me a line.
You don't even know what you're fucking doing to me right now.
You don't even know what you're doing to me right now. Little snarl in there. Yeah. Little growl.
I think when they say they snarl it, they mean they like maybe snarl at the beginning and then say the line. And it's not.
How long of a snarl is it? Is it like a 10-second snarl? Or are we talking a full minute snarl?
I don't know, but they're always snarling at each other or hissing or growling. And I'm like,
well,
I do want to see what this looks like.
In Twilight, the werewolves snarl at each other in an aggressive way. Not in a
sexy.
Not in a let's get sexy fun way. Yeah.
Okay, next question.
Wait, so what did I mean, I kind of messed up the question because I misunderstood it, but do I get any points on that?
No, because you misunderstood.
Okay.
Lock in. Start listening to your wife.
Okay.
Men, in the bedroom, do you notice when we have body hair and do you care about it?
I would say, yes, we notice. No, we don't care.
Okay. I like this way of playing because it exposes like what you think, but also it does so in a way that doesn't blame you if you think a certain way because you're having to put the projection on all men, you know?
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely just a way for you to ask me these questions. But
get to the bottom of it without really asking you. Yeah, most people said, yes, we noticed, but it's no big deal.
They're exactly what I said.
Yeah, so you get a star for that one.
Well, I get 7 points plus a star. That's 17
points. Okay. And then someone said, body hair doesn't bug me, but if I notice ingrown hairs, it makes me nervous because I think it could be an STI.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah, I think that's interesting.
That's fair.
But I think just, have an open conversation with your partner.
Yeah.
Make sure if you guys are saying you don't have STIs, then trust in that. Make sure you're having sex with someone.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What's the difference between an STI and an STD?
STD is sexual transmitted disease. STI is sexual disease. STI, I believe, is sexual transmitted infection.
Okay. Is there
I don't know. You tell me. You're the one who majored in some science shit.
neuroscience, baby? I know all about the
You
genes.
guys talk a lot about STDs and STIs.
I said neuroscience. We all know about the genes, and that's not what neuroscience is. What'd you say?
Did you guys talk a lot about STDs and STIs?
I'm sure we did. I just can't remember what the difference is.
Probably because you went to school like so long ago.
Okay, aren't you the sex expert here? Shouldn't you know the answers to these questions?
I was just testing your knowledge, baby. Okay, someone said, I love body hair, so I've always hoped for a bush, but I've only gotten it a handful of times.
Oh, yes, the guy has always wanted to see a bush. Yeah, I've been with my fair share of
Bush havers.
George
if
W.
You will.
Bushers. Yeah, well, I've been with my fair share of bushes, George and George W. But I don't have a strong feeling either way.
Yeah.
I don't have a strong feeling either way. Here's a hot take.
Okay.
I believe that if you are on camera, it's better to have a bush, because if you don't have a bush and you're standing there naked, you don't really see anything. You know what I mean?
Like,
if you're a girl, like if I'm a guy watching a girl on a movie and she's getting naked.
Yeah.
If she's completely naked and I look down in that area, it kind of just looks like there's nothing there unless there's a bush. And now I'm like, oh, I'm seeing
because you're never
something.
actually seeing full
You're
vag.
never going in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that tells you like, oh, this is the part of the body that would be the
Well, I
privates.
have a pretty good idea. I need the bush as a guide. Is what I'm saying.
Have you watched Sex in the City?
No.
There's the episode where Samantha is in the sauna with a woman and they both have lightning bolt bushes, basically.
Nice.
And they realize it's because like they're both hooking up with the same guy.
Oh,
and
wow.
he asked them to,
Yeah. Yep.
shave a certain way.
Yep.
So that's also benefit of having a specific type.
I guess. Yeah.
It's like a
if you're
very-
that guy.
No, I mean for a girly, like to find out if he's hooking up with other people.
Oh, sure.
Very rare scenario, once in a lifetime scenario. But if it were to happen,
How would you? Are you asking every single girl
yeah,
you meet?
I think now women should start asking men they meet, like, do you have a preference? Like, if I shave a certain shape down there.
Oh,
and
sorry. Go ahead.
And if the men say, yeah, like I want you to shave a lightning bolt, then if they're around other girls with a lightning bolt, they can be like, wait, are you hooking up with John because he likes lightning bolts? And then that's how we expose them.
So that's my question: is how do you know that they're into lightning bolts? Not John. How do you know that the other girl has a lightning bolt?
Well, this is like in the locker room.
Yeah, okay.
or-
This is locker room chat.
Yeah.
This is gal pal time.
locker
This is gal
room
pal time. Okay.
Beaver out
Okay.
time. Okay.
Can I ask a question in reverse?
Yeah.
What's the same answer for girls to guy?
I will hook up with anything. Like I have hooked up with any.
Good Lord, that's true.
But my preference is like hair there, but just a little maintained.
Yeah, a little maintenance.
There was one time that you shaved everything. You go, babe, look. And I was like, oh God.
Well, it's because I'm an all or nothing guy. And so I am not maintaining. I'm either going full-fledged bush, if you will,
Yeah.
or completely barren. I'm a naked mole rat sometimes.
Yeah, and I was just not prepared for that. And then someone said, nope, I've never noticed body hair either way. So some people are just like going down, they don't even see. They don't even see hair.
They're going to town. They're going to town.
Okay, men in the bedroom, do you notice our stomachs or rolls? And do you care? What do you think the men think?
I would say, I'm probably going to give the same answer. I think that it's maybe something you notice, but you don't care.
Yeah, most people said they don't notice it at all, or if they do, they don't care. We had yes, but it's no big deal. We had I noticed the stomach rolls, but I think it's hot. I especially think stretch marks are super hot.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, which I thought was cool. And then I said another answer we got is no. I don't notice it at all. It makes me sad that women even worry about this.
Yeah.
Which is so true. A lot of these questions are women worrying about how they are perceived in like insecurities around their own bodies.
100%. I think that the best thing that you could say to respond to that with the fact that women worry about that stuff. As a man, I can say wholeheartedly, if you are naked in front of me, I'm not thinking anything negative. I'm like, let's go.
Let's fucking
all
go.
that stuff that, and I say that having said, I do worry about comparisons sometimes. I mean, not anymore, obviously, but when I was still out there playing the field, if you will. Guys, if they see you naked, it's on.
Men in the
Wait.
bed. What?
Could you tally up my score, please?
Oh yeah, you have 34.
I was at 17. I have 34. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
Cool.
Men in the bedroom, can you feel it when we have an IUD?
I will say no. I will say no because I have never noticed it. I believe that most of my partners, I know that most of my partners, if not all of them, have been on the pill. So I'm not sure about an IUD, to be completely honest, but I've never felt one. So I'm going to say no.
Okay. These are the answers we got. Someone said they can feel the IUD and it can hurt if you're bigger. It's a little more distracting because it like prods you.
Okay.
Someone said,
"What are you saying? Are you saying I'm small?"
No, I've said your size on this podcast before.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
7 inches. 7 is heaven, baby.
7 is 7. Someone said, I've never felt an IUD. Someone said, my husband says he can feel the IUD and the string and it's pokey. And then someone said, half my partners have felt my IUD depending on the position. Like if I'm on top, I use a condom so they can't feel it because
interesting.
That's like closer up there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel the IUD string and have been told by my partner that gynos had said they can cut them shorter. I don't know how true this is.
Oh, okay.
So I do not have an IUD.
Yes.
Surprise. But it does seem like the consensus is it's like you can feel it sometimes.
Yeah.
And there's maybe a chance that if this happens, you can go to the gyno and ask them to, cut it a little shorter, the string. But I would never take out an IUD because your partner can feel it.
No. I mean,
it's very important to have birth control in this time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So your partner's lucky to be having sex with you.
At first I thought you meant like, don't take it out on the spot.
Let me
definitely do not do that.
Let me reach up in there and take this out real now fast so we can get freaky. It's well, that defeats the whole purpose of it altogether. But
that reminds me of that urban legend of the couple that were doing it and they like put like 12 Skittles up.
And only 11 came out.
13 came out.
And then it was like, oh, who did she have these Skittles?
No, it was like the 13th wasn't a Skittle. It was like some weird thing.
Oh, I don't remember this urban legend at all.
Yeah, who knows?
I remember like the urban legend of the like Pop Rocks, where you put Pop Rocks up in your vagina and then they like ate you out and it like sizzled.
Damn, that actually sounds awesome.
That was like I remember like a gossip in middle school. We were saying that about people.
Have you ever done it?
Of course not.
Oh, well, yeah, you couldn't. But I mean, like...
Most people... No one should. There's no way. You shouldn't have anything scented in your vagina. There's no way you should have Pop Rocks. That shit is radioactive.
You've got to have an original Pop Rock.
Do you think that means it's, like, safe for the vagina?
I'm just saying, maybe it's not like an unscented Pop Rock.
Yeah, I mean, it still has whatever makes it fizzy in it. And I have to guess that's not I don't think that's very safe for us to consume even.
In general?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a strange, they're fun though.
Yeah, it's like, put this in your body. It's going to have like little explosions. Yeah. And we were like, fuck yeah, sign me up. Okay, men, in the bedroom, do you notice if our body looks weird in certain positions?
I'm going to say most people said no. However, I have a caveat. But
what's your caveat?
My caveat is there was one time I was having sex with a girl where I was like, she like looks.
I know the physician you're talking about. It's the one I call you. No, I know, but it's the one that I call caveman.
Yeah, I was going to say she looked so much like a caveman that I was like... that I was just like, felt like so primal and weird that I was, but other than that experience, no, I've never noticed that. So my answer is unless it looks like a caveman.
That is literally the position. Some people call it frog. I call it caveman because it's like you're on your feet bouncing on the dick.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of thing. And I think that's great if it feels good for you. That just hurts my knees.
Yeah. We ended up still doing it and it was still fine. I just noticed it for a second.
Yeah, you're just like, your mind went there for a hot second.
Yeah.
People said, nope, I'm too in the moment. Nope, I'm focused on pleasing my partner. Any position your body is in is going to look super hot.
What a hero that one guy was. No, I'm just focused on I'm just focused on my partner.
Yeah.
That's a hero.
He's like, you're doing these anonymously, right? Wink, wink. My name is Nick Jones, and my phone number is this. I made that name up. I don't know. That's not the person's
Nick Jones.
Name. Nick Jones, the hero.
The hero we all need.
Okay, in the bedroom, do you ever think we taste or smell bad?
Sorry. I will say that I think the answer is yes. I think people say, see, this is where it's tough because I'm able to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And so I will say to you, if I've noticed that,
like things smell a little funky down
yeah,
there.
Yeah. I don't know, since this is an opinion-based question, back to my Family Feud earlier. Since this is an opinion, it's hard to say what they would say. I'm going to go out on a limb and say yes. How many points did I get for the last one, by the way? Oh, I got another 17.
So whatever 34 plus 17 is.
51.
You already won the game.
There we go, baby. I'm going for an all-time great. Let's go.
An all-time great of this game that will only be played once and no one's ever played before. What do you think, like, I know when you've noticed I've smelled bad in the past, like, we know it's because I, like, struggle sometimes with BV infections. Yeah. And so I'm like, tell me when I smell like that because it means I have an infection coming on and I can take care of it. What do you think, like, how men should say that to someone they're not married to?
That's a really good question. I honestly don't know if they should. I mean, I think it depends on who the partner is. If it's a one-night stand, no. You know what I mean? There's just if it's someone that you're dating consistently, it maybe for like how X number of months or a year or whatever it is. Yes. I just know that from my own personal experience, when I've been told that things smell, I can't stop thinking about it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And even if your intention is to help, it's still going to be a reaction on the other side of hurt. You know what I mean? Or not hurt, embarrassment and shame. And so it's just a really hard conversation. And I don't know the best way other than just not doing it unless it's somebody who you're...
And not doing it, obviously, during the deed. Like,
oh, yeah, of course not.
Crazy.
Yes. Yeah.
But I think afterwards you can be like, hey, it doesn't affect like me or how I feel about you at all, but I just wanted to let you know it smelled like things down there smelled a little off, and I wanted to tell you just in case. I don't know. I don't even know. I don't
think you should do that.
Yeah,
because it's again, it's a really, really nice intention.
Yeah, but it's just not going to be taken.
If it's not somebody who you know intimately enough to know that because like even if I tell you, you still get a little bit embarrassed, but you're okay being embarrassed around me. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's just a hard one.
That's hard. Is a hard one.
I don't think I would, to be honest. I haven't. In the past, I never did.
Well, and as long as you don't smell like fishy down there, you don't have an infection most likely. Like the time, because I feel like people have to be empowered by their sense and like know that their scent is good. The only time to be worried is if it's a literal infection or like an STI or something. Definitely. And the main smell in that case is fishiness.
Yeah.
And overwhelmingly people said no, they don't notice when people smell or taste bad.
Okay.
A lot of people said that they think it smells and tastes amazing down there no matter what. Mm-hmm. Someone said, I only notice the taste and smell if it's really off. And then someone said, I noticed it before when it was fishy, and it turned out she had an infection.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't get any points.
No points on that one.
Okay. I guess I'm just an asshole.
Yeah, probably. Speaking of assholes.
Speaking of assholes.
Men in the bedroom, do you...
Speaking of assholes, men.
Men. In the bedroom, do you
such a beta.
Judge our booty holes during doggy?
Do we judge your booty holes during doggy?
Yeah.
No.
What's your thoughts on when you see a booty hole in the bedroom?
I mean, I'm pretty pumped, honestly. It excites me because I want to eat that booty like grocery. You know what I'm saying?
Do you ever think about the hair you see around the booty?
Yes, I have thought of that before.
With
I have
me?
thought of that. No, I don't know if you've ever had hair down there.
I definitely have some hair down there.
Really?
I mean, I shave occasionally.
Oh, I don't think I've noticed that.
But to keep shaving, it gets a little itchy.
Oh.
I'll just let that freak flag fly.
Yeah, I have not personally taken note of that with you. However, I have in the past. And what was the question? Do you notice it?
Do you just notice the boot? Do you judge booty holes during doggy?
Judge, no. Notice, yes.
But do you know, like, if you see hair during on the booty, or you
that? I will be honest, weirds me out a little bit. Unfair of me to do that because mine is a fucking forest. Yeah. But what?
I was gonna say you haven't let me look at your butthole.
No, because I'm embarrassed about it.
And we're married.
I'm embarrassed
like,
about it.
Let me get in there.
yeah, I would say the only time that I quote unquote judge it is when there's hair. I'll be honest about that. But again, caveat of I might notice it for a second and I'm still going. You know what I mean?
And you're moving on.
Yeah, there's nothing that's putting the guy down. You know what I mean?
People's responses were, I look at her butthole and think, wow, this is hot. Is that weird? No, that's not weird.
It's not weird at all.
If I'm going down from behind, I think, does she care, or does she know that my nose is in her ass, and does she care?
Hero.
No,
Yeah.
your nose should always, like, put your nose up in there. I look at the butthole, but I don't judge it.
Okay.
I look at it and think about how much I'm loving it.
Okay.
And I'm never judging it. I'm just admiring.
Great.
So a lot of just, like, butthole fans in the house.
Of butthole. Okay. So, yeah.
No one mentioned hair.
Okay.
Just you.
Just me, the asshole.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got 7 points.
My
I don't get a
view
star.
is if I've said this before on Instagram, but like with the hair on the back of my head, like if what's going on that I can't see is none of my business.
Okay.
So like if I can't see the back of my hair, it's none of my business. If I can't see the booty hair, it's none of my business. Like whatever's just happened down there is natural.
Fine.
And like great.
Yeah.
Hey, men in the bedroom. Do you get distracted by our noises when you're about to orgasm, or do you like them?
Like them. Easy. 100%.
Yeah.
Every single man said 100%.
Yeah, every man. I love it. It's the hottest thing ever. I love the noises. As long as she's making them, I feel like I can let my mind go blank. I love the noise. The louder, the better, especially because it helps us know what works.
Yeah. Hero.
If someone says the words "don't stop" or "I'm close," ironically makes me almost come immediately, but I love it.
Yeah.
And then the only time I get distracted is when it seems over the top or fake. Have you ever been like, this person's putting on a performance, a show?
No, because I've really laid it down every single time I've ever had sex. So.
You're like, no matter how loud they scream, no matter
all
what
real.
they say, it all makes sense to me. That's why some people say like love bombing wouldn't work on me, because I would just like,
What's love bombing?
when you like someone bombs you, and so at the beginning of a relationship they like shower you in all this love and compliments and stuff, and so some people are like, love bombing, I don't know if they say would or wouldn't work on me, because I think that's just how I'm meant to be treated, you know?
Yeah.
And similar vibes.
I'm at 75 points, by the way.
Okay, great. Men in the bedroom, do you focus on anything, or does your brain go blank?
Ooh. It kind of depends on the sitch.
Speak on it.
I would say the majority of the time it goes blank isn't the right word, because generally I'm thinking about boobies and booties. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
But if that's what we mean by quote unquote blank, then definitely the majority of the time that. There are some times when we're doing stuff and I like really want to make you come or something. And so I'm thinking about what I'm doing. But it's never, I'm focusing on that. I'm never like, it's never something else.
You're never like, oh, I have this email I have to send.
No. I mean, there are times when I'm anxious about stuff.
Yeah.
Where it's hard to get that out of my mind. But 98% of the time that goes away once boobies and booties come into play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like probably how we can end all hardships for everyone.
Boobies and booties?
Yeah.
100% agree.
Like Elon Musk is thinking of taxing, I don't know. I don't even know. What does he do? What does he even do for a living? Elon Musk is thinking of exploding a giant rocket ship in the air over the Caribbean, which apparently he just did or some shit.
Okay.
And I'd be like, no, don't do that.
Boom.
Boobs.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, whoa.
Yeah. It would literally solve. But you also have to think about the fact that like Europe has a much less stringent policy on showing boobs.
Yeah.
You know, and they're also happier than us.
Yeah.
So maybe you're right.
Wow.
Maybe you're right.
I just hacked it. Free the nipple.
Free the nip and free the tip.
Yeah, get that penis
Get
out.
that wiener out here, dude. Hot take. We've talked about this. I think we actually talked about this when we discussed 50 Shades of Grey and Twilight.
Yeah.
Show more ween in movies.
Oh, yeah. And real alphas want to see more tip.
Here's what I... Real alphas require more tip.
Yeah.
No, I think that for me, it's just like, if you're trying to get me in the mood of a sexy scene, you know what I mean? Show me the goods.
But what about like the tension? Do you like the tension at all?
What do you mean?
Like what's more important to you, seeing the goods in a sexy scene or the sexual tension?
Go a little bit further on what you mean by sexual tension.
Like big buildup. Like, do you like story leading up to like the heat?
No. I like a little bit of tension. I like a little bit of tension of what she got on under that. You know what I mean? Like where it doesn't show everything. I do enjoy that, but ultimately I think I enjoy more when it's revealed. You're like,
give me the boobs.
Yeah, yeah. But same, I mean, like, and I'm not, you know, I don't necessarily trend towards being attracted to weens, but I'm interested in seeing them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, I do
You
trend,
are attracted to weens.
And I'm also interested in seeing them. Okay, this is what people said they focus on in the bedroom. I'm focusing on our connection and how she's feeling. If she feels good, then I feel like I can feel good.
Damn, that was Nick Johnson for sure.
We named him Nick Jones.
Nick Jones.
We already forgot our fake man's name. I actually went to high school with the Nick Jones.
He's getting a lot of play today,
He's
baby.
getting a lot of play.
If you're in St. Louis and your name is Nick Jones. Actually, no, if you're a girl in St. Louis and you know a Nick Jones.
He might be an American hero.
He might be an unsung hero.
I focus on the sound she's making. That really gets me off. I focus on the feeling of the pussy, and that's pretty much it. My mind is anything but blank. I think, am I doing this right? What should I do next? I'm kind of hungry. No leg cramps, please. This man might have ADHD.
Wait, go back.
Which is what I have.
Go back.
And that's how I think.
Read that one again.
This guy said, my mind is anything but blank. I think, am I doing this right? What should I do next? I'm kind of hungry. No leg cramps, please.
Okay. Okay.
Which, like, I relate to.
Okay.
My mind isn't blank, but it's zen. I'm thinking about how beautiful her face and body is, how good her skin feels against mine, and how good it feels, and hoping she enjoys it too.
Great.
I feel like there are a lot of like great, these are more like wholesome
Yeah, these
than
are nice.
I thought they were going to be.
Yeah, these are really nice. Well, I will say that there's so much of being an alpha male and being good at being a male is being able to get a girl off. Like there is such a big cachet around that. You know what I mean? Like it's just been built into being a male. And so I feel like this is actually an area where even the toxic masculine guys will still want to get the girl off, not necessarily for the girl, but for them.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing it for? If you're doing it for you, you're an alpha, which we don't like alphas. If we're
now, this gets into the question we always ask: does intention matter?
Yeah, does
because
intention matter? You're still getting someone off.
Yeah,
but at the same time, you're making yourself an alpha. I often get caught up and think about if my partner's enjoying it too. I try to be completely in the moment, and if I can give my wife pleasure, I get really excited. I'm focused. Ooh,
Nick, you already answered.
Nick, you already answered. I'm focusing on everything I can hear, touch, feel, and see, and then I have no other thoughts, which is interesting because that's like an actual therapy thing.
Yeah, it's staying present. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. That's great.
I'm focusing on trying to maintain the rhythm and placement so my partner can enjoy. I'm focusing on my breathing and wanting my partner to orgasm. And then sometimes I'm focused, but then sometimes I get really odd imagery popping into my head, like White House, raising of a flag, mazes, etc. That just sounds like you're a hot-blooded American man. You think about the White House and an American flag? Awesome. That's just, I get that too. The
Does it help?
Thoughts. Yeah.
I'm curious if it helps.
Yeah. I mean, polls are very erotic.
Polls are, and I mean, honestly, the act of a flag going up.
Yeah. That's
if it keeps going up and down.
Yeah. Whoa. I was going to say that's phallic, but it's more like rhythmic.
It's rhythmic. Yeah. It's phallic and rhythmic.
Wow.
Yeah. It's phthmic.
No, I think whatever you think about, great. But also, I get all kinds of intrusive thoughts.
Yeah,
it's going to happen.
I think everybody does. Except maybe this Buddhist
Jones
monk guy.
Yeah.
No, Nick Jones he's our hero. But this Buddhist monk guy who's here for the touch, taste, feel, and smell. That's the way I wish I could live my life.
I know. Well, therapy, like
have that guy come on here and just let me be his pal.
Yeah, I think we'd learn a lot from him. I'm present. I'm in the moment, but I'm just stoked to be there.
Yeah.
Okay. Men in the bedroom. Do you
wait? I actually had it. Sorry.
Yeah.
I actually had a thing I wanted to say. Thank you. So we were just talking about the kind of toxic part of masculinity of the needing to be able to perform in bed and all that stuff, and that comes with a lot of pressure when you're younger, for sure.
Like
and
to yourself.
Yes,
as
to
a
yourself.
guy.
Yeah. Yes. And I saw this. I showed you. I saw this video. And it was this guy. It was on Instagram, and he was like, "I wish I had his username." But he just said, "Guys, I got a real player move for you." And then he said, "If you're feeling like you're unable to perform, you can't get hard, all that stuff. He was like, take a step back and just say to her, girl, I'm having a little bit of trouble performing right now. It has nothing to do with you. I'm just nervous and in my own head. Can we take things slow? And he was like, that's a real player move, because now you're bringing her into your struggle with you. And I was like, that's such an awesome thing to say, because there is so much pressure around that stuff. Like, I've been in the situation where I can't get hard, and then I try so hard to get hard. But when you're thinking about it, you can't.
Yeah,
you know what
totally.
I mean? And so I thought that was fucking awesome. I wish I had his username, because I would say go follow him.
Well, and I think that's such an interesting thing, because men put so much pressure on that, where like for women or for people with a clit, the main way to come is the clit. So like your hardness doesn't matter. It's like what you're doing with that clit. And of course I want you to get hard and be able to come, but like doesn't affect my pleasure at all.
100%. And but I think that when you're not getting hard, you're not necessarily thinking, oh, this is how I'm going to get this girl off. You're thinking, I can't do the thing that I'm supposed to do as a man. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which is get hard.
Right.
And yeah, I thought that was awesome. I thought that was really, really awesome.
Okay, men, in the bedroom, do you think we're lazy if we don't want to be on top, or do you like it?
Not at all. I don't think, not at all. Yes, I'm fine with it. Not at all do I think you're lazy if you don't want to be on top.
Okay. The answers. I don't mind being on top. It's animalistic and dominant. I like to feel you up. Mm-hmm. I like it a lot being on top, but sometimes I think, shit, I can't keep up this tempo. This position's getting heavy to hold.
Ooh, 100%. 100%. Especially when the girl starts liking it. Because once you find something she likes, you're not supposed to stop. And then you're like, one, my stamina, cardiovascular health is not going to do it for me. Two, my muscles aren't going to hold me here.
Yeah, I always thought about that when guys have to hold themselves up on top. That's why they say like date a swimmer, because they're just like can flop their groin back and forth so easily.
Yeah, just do the breaststroke or something. I don't know. I don't know any swim terms.
I think that's butterfly where they're doing
that. Butterfly. Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, I always think about that. It would be hard to be on top for a long time.
Well, I mean, girls have to do it too, but girls can kind of like sit on their legs.
Yeah, I can balance more on my knees, where you're forward, almost balancing on your shoulders.
Yeah,
and you're like traps almost.
Yeah, well, that's why lazy doggy is my favorite,
because you get to lay.
You get to lay. Yeah.
Anything where both people get to lay. Oh God,
it's great.
Gorgeous. Also, I feel like traps. If you see a guy with like giant traps at the gym, it could be because he's overworking them out, or it could be because he's just fucking so much. Balancing.
Yeah. Maybe he's an unsung hero because he's letting all the girls just
lay down.
Yeah. You know what, babe? Take the night off.
Yeah, and this is my trap workout for the day. Okay.
Wait. 75 plus 17 is 92.
We're not done with this question. I want to do whatever feels best for my partner. If that's them being in missionary, great. I love missionary, but I prefer for her to do more than just laying there, maybe scratching my back a bit if she's on the bottom.
Great.
Have you ever dealt with that where like the person's just like completely doing nothing while you're putting in all the work? Like their hands are just laying by their side?
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I'm sure it has.
I've dealt with that before. Where I'm on top and the person's just like,
sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah, like literally, like not even giving me like scratches.
Yeah, I think
hands
usually
on my body.
I think usually their hands are on my body, just because my bod's so sweet.
They're like, I can't help it.
I can't help it. I can't control myself.
Apparently, this guy didn't feel that way. He was like actually getting.
He was actually trying his best to get away from you.
Her body's lava. I can't touch it. Men in the bedroom, do you think about things so you don't finish fast? What is it you're thinking about?
Ooh, I definitely have thought about things, and I've tried everything. You know, I've tried everything they say. Think about your grandma. It only made it harder.
Yeah, okay. Say that's awful for me to think about like your family members.
But that's what they say. They say like think about a family member, think about sports, which I don't even know sports, so I can't do that. I would say I never like what ultimately ended up happening was I always came fast because I was worried about it. Pretty much.
And also again, what I said earlier is like the pace that you last or how long you last doesn't affect the person with the vulva's pleasure at all.
Yeah.
But I know that there's such a thing in men's mind that it's like I have to last long, and it's like there's really no reason on the end of pleasure for this for the other person.
I would push back with that a little bit because even even you talk about the importance of foreplay and stuff like that. And and a lot of times when guys are coming isn't necessarily in the actual sex act, it's in the lead up to it. You know what I mean?
When guys are coming or girls are coming?
Guys. The ones who are prematurely ejaculating.
Okay.
It happens. So I guess what I'm saying is I agree with you if we're talking about the act of sex. But I think that some men face the issue of just premature ejaculation in general, and that could come from dry humping. That could come from second base.
But that
you know what I mean?
Dry humping doesn't stop you from eating someone else out. Like,
no, you can keep going after.
Yeah.
For sure. You can keep going after. There's no question there. I think that the idea of coming for a guy who's prematurely coming is not just with sex.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, this is a whole nother combo, but a lot of people want to take the word foreplay out of the conversation because that's labeling. It's always labeling as sex is the big event, basically, which that's such a patriarchal view of sex because for women, that's not the big event. They think like any sexual relation should be considered sex, blowjob, getting eaten out, playing with the clit, whatever it is. It could be considered premature ejaculation because it's happening before sex. But like if you consider it all sex, then it's not that.
Yeah. Considering I'm part of the patriarchy, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I probably can't speak too unbiased on this, but I do think that there's a difference between if a girl gives me a hand job versus if I have sex with them, have penetration with them. It just feels like I've done more with them.
What do you think when like two women have sex with each other?
I think that they're for lack of a better term, scissoring, if you will.
No.
What are they doing? Scissoring, or they're doing penetration.
No, that's the thing. Like, that men can only think of sex in that way.
So let me ask you this question. Would you say that if you gave a guy a hand job, would you go to your friend and say I had sex with that guy?
I think I would. I think I'd be like, we engaged in like sexual activity.
No, you would not.
Yeah.
I understand that it's an idealistic thing, but I don't think you would. Because even you and I call hand jobs handies.
Yeah, but that's like, we're just labeling things. But when you're like...
Which I love handies, by the way.
If you were, like, again, to go back to like two women having sex or two people with a vulva, what would you consider losing your virginity then?
That's a good question. I don't know. I probably wouldn't think that it was fingering. I think I would think anything that's like oral sex makes it a little tougher, but I would say anything with clit rubbing of both together, so scissoring.
Well, we had Dan Savage on the podcast, and he's like this expert, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I remember him saying, like, straight men will ask him, how do gay men get to have so much more sex than straight men? And he's like, because our definition of sex is so much broader. Giving a hand job, giving a blow job. Like, if you're not putting yourself in that definition, you're actually going to be having sex much more, and it's going to feel like you're doing it much more, and you're not going to be putting the same amount of pressure on yourself. And so that was just like an interesting, I don't know, I really think that across the sex communities, we're trying to change the definition. And I try not to use foreplay, but it's like there's not another, people don't realize yet what it means when we're talking about, like, if I'm saying like, don't skip on foreplay, like it sucks, because if I just said like foreplay is sex, I don't know. It's like you have to explain more. Do men think about things so you don't finish as fast? And what is it you're thinking about? And the answers. Yes, when I'm trying not to finish too fast, I think about baseball. Yes, I think about the weather. If I think I'm going to pop, I liked that word. I think about a hard math problem. Yes, I just repeat, don't come yet, don't come yet, don't come yet. I think about Margaret Thatcher on a cold day. I don't
even know what Margaret Thatcher looks like.
Yeah, I was actually researching her before this because I was like, I actually don't know if I know a single thing about her.
Also, why on a cold day?
I don't know, like, because are your...
I guess your nipples are... But then that would make your nipples erect.
Naked? Yeah, I'm not sure. I have to distract myself sometimes so I don't come fast because she's just too damn good. That was definitely Nick Jones.
Nick Jones. Nick Jones. We love Nick Jones.
We love Nick Jones. But just come. Do it. Don't, if you're having to torture yourself by thinking about things so unsexy, like, just come and then just give really good head after,
Yeah.
or like, and yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Don't hurt yourself.
Take the pressure off it.
Take the pressure off of it. Man, in the bedroom, do you think about other women?
Oh, this is what I thought I was answering before.
Yeah.
In general, no. Sometimes it'll happen involuntarily.
Yes, most people said no. Someone said only as a distraction if I'm trying not to come. I wonder if that was the Margaret Thatcher person. Someone said yes, but it doesn't mean anything. Someone said the only time I've thought about other women is when I was on SSRIs. I don't know the science behind that. Someone said my ex told me...
Wait, sorry. They said when they are on SSRIs, they think about other people?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know. My ex told me he compares me to his current girlfriend. So that's weird. That's a good thing they're
That's
your
a rough
ex.
one.
Yeah. Good thing they're your ex. Sometimes I think about other women, but it's not because I want them. It's a kink for me. And then the only time I'm thinking about another woman is like a threesome fantasy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So pretty general, or pretty like what you said.
Great. Do I get full points on that?
Yeah, sure. Whatever. You already won this game.
91 plus 17.
108. Wow. Okay, general thoughts. What do you think people said they like mainly think about during sex outside of these questions?
Boobies.
Yeah, boobies.
Yeah.
What else?
Booties.
No one mentioned booties, really.
No one mentioned booties?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Representation for ass guys.
Boobies, booties. Just the fact that you're doing it. Like,
yeah.
There's just that thing of like, fuck yeah, dude. This is sick.
Yeah.
You know?
Someone said, I think, wow. Wow. The Owen Wilson. Wow.
Wow.
I'm getting laid. Someone said, every single time during sex, I just think, this is awesome.
Yeah, this is fucking sick.
I'm thinking about how unbelievably lucky I am to be here, but I'm also concentrating. I'm thinking, oh, boobies.
Mm-hmm.
My main thoughts are, that feels good. Does she like that? And don't finish too quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I just love watching my dick go in and out of her. Cool.
Sick.
All I think about is pleasing her. And the more turned on she gets, the more turned on I get.
Nick Jones.
I think about the person I'm with, how sexy they are, how good it feels, and if they're enjoying it.
That might be Nick Jones too.
I'm thinking, I'm just really happy to be here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's the main thing. Is
Yeah.
this is tight.
I know,
This
we're
is
like, are you
awesome.
looking at this part of my body?
Yeah.
Like, are you like focusing on this? And guys are like, fuck yeah.
That's why I'm saying, like, I understand all those concerns, but if you understood that men are literally just like, hell yeah, dude. Like literally, it's like the most like bro-y, like, fuck yeah, bro, this is sick.
Well, it's like a
you
dog when he gets like a tennis ball or
Yeah,
something. It's
yes.
just like, that's
Yeah.
what they're living for.
know? Yeah.
I'm pretty dominant in the bed, so I'm thinking about ways to assert that and looking for cues from my partner.
Ooh.
I notice if my wife doesn't feel fully present. That was an interesting one.
Yeah.
I always want to know.
I would say you notice if I'm not present, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Snap
Come
into
back.
it, baby.
Come
Lock
back.
in. Yeah, come back. Where were you?
Where'd you go?
Another time traveling somewhere. I wonder why it takes so much effort to get her to do this and why we don't do it more often. I think about what I'm going to do next and fantasize about all the possibilities.
The previous one is one to talk about.
The why we don't do this as often.
Yeah.
Maybe ask your partner.
That's what I mean. Yeah, talk about it.
Talk about it. But not in an accusatory way.
Yeah.
Just open to listening. 14-year-old me would be incredibly proud of me for having sex right now.
Yeah.
As a trans guy, I think about how I can do better for them if I'm a dob or sub. That's more important to me than the gender dynamics. Instead is this dom and sub dynamics.
Cool.
Which I think is really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And great to know, like, I think it's just great that people know already, like, if they're more dob or more sub. Like, I think it's great for people to know that because that's a hard thing, I think, for people to figure out sometimes.
Yeah. And that's also something that I've never really thought about with the transgender conversation is we are talking this entire time, we're talking about the pressures that you have on sex as a gendered person.
Mm-hmm.
And so
as
like
a cisgendered person.
Yes. Yeah. And so to now have that compounded with, oh, I have to match those expectations. That's probably tough.
Yeah. I'm glad that they send that in. I think, okay. Just keep doing that. She likes it. So keep going. I'm focusing on trying to figure out how to maximize my time with her because it feels so great.
Great.
Those are all the thoughts.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I do think that's the takeaway.
Awesome.
Like, don't overthink it because they're just fucking excited to be there.
That's 100% the
and
reality.
men don't put that much, like it's hard, but try to combat the pressure you put on yourself for having to stay hard or not coming too fast, because for women, like the clit is key. That's the number one reason women don't is because lack of attention played to the clit. It's not lack of penetration. Yeah. So if that's your main worry, like pay attention to the clit with different parts of your body.
I think that's the main thing is like, well, so no, I think the main thing is if you come too fast, it doesn't have to be done.
No, that's
if you
the
come
thing.
too fast, you
sex
can do
is
much
not
more.
over when like the man comes. Like again, think about lesbian sex. Yep. When do they end things? Yep. Like, you know, it's not. It doesn't have to be over after that.
Totally.
She comes first. He comes first. Whatever. It can happen either way. Yeah. But you'll rarely ever come at the same time unless you're in a movie that's probably lying to you, like The Notebook.
I feel like we've only ever come at the same time once.
Yeah, I think so.
And it was awesome. It was cool.
It was cool. The stars align. Yeah. But it's so rare.
It's very rare.
Like, accept that one person's going to come first. Yeah. And if it's the guy that comes first, that's okay. You can keep going.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm thinking back about the pressures on the guy to not come too fast. And I think about that Friends episode where he's making out with Rachel for the first time and he rolls over the juice box.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, oh, honey, it's okay. And he's like, oh, no, it was just a juice box. And she's like, oh, thank God. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like stuff like that has been permeated throughout our media system forever. And so my like initial thought to you when we were talking about this was it's hard because you do see all this stuff. But then when you think about it, that was written by dudes. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like, so it's just like that's an unfortunate part of your word, the patriarchy,
society that we have to fight, which is it's all, if we fight it, it's better for men too, because we take away that pressure.
Yeah, 100%. That is one thing I'll say that you have shown me more than anybody, which is like the loneliness of males that I think we have. I think it's very valid that we have it. I also think it's a part of the patriarchy, and we need to understand that in order to combat it. You know what I mean? Like, it's interesting. Yeah. It's interesting.
Send it to the sewers time.
Send it to the sewers. Okay, I have two things I want to send to the sewers.
Do it.
And I actually came up with this. Well, so the first one I'm going to send global warming to the sewers.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Because it's horrible.
Because our LA is on fire.
Well, also just because
and everything's
on fire.
Yeah, we're slowly drowning, dying, all that good stuff.
Secondly is this I actually was thinking about before we even started this conversation, but it's so perf is perceptions. I want to send perceptions to the sewers because I think about when perceptions affect us. Yeah. And it's literally always, because often I find myself worrying about how people are perceiving me do a certain action.
Okay.
Whereas I really shouldn't be worried about how people are perceiving me, but I base my actions a lot of times on how people are going to perceive me for doing that action. But then I also think we have perceptions of things, and our perceptions of things are the lens that we see the world through, and we base our actions on the lens that we see the world through. And so I'm like, if we could lose perceptions and just have, back to our friend who was just there for the touch, the feel, the sound, and the whatever, if we could literally just live completely presently, I feel like we could be authentically ourselves, and that would be pretty awesome.
Totally.
Yeah. So I want to send perceptions to the sewers.
Okay, cerebral.
Yeah, you know how I do. It's like a little heady, a little thought-provoking.
That's cool. I like that global warming. It didn't get touched on as much as perceptions did.
Well, I would rather...
Because it's like, fuck, I mean... Yeah, this is an issue, but what are we gonna do about it?
Yeah, is there anything we can do at this point, LOL?
LOL. I mean, I recycle, but that doesn't really matter when you see Elon Musk is like exploding rocket ships over the Caribbean. Yeah, and you're like, well, okay. I guess that's
I've just started spraying hairspray all over the place.
Well, that's pretty bad.
Oh, is it? Okay.
But yeah, that goes hand in hand, because my send it to the sewers is global warming, but also billionaires, I think. Like
bad billionaires.
I mean, I don't think you can be an ethical billionaire.
Okay.
And I mean, I saw something that was like, if we worked 40 hours a week, this is a wrong thing, but it just like gives you the statistics. Like 40 hours a week, $100 an hour, it would take us 400 years to become a billionaire or something like that.
Yeah.
Like it's just not. But my thing is like the billionaires responsible for global warming. How I'm like focused so much on what I can do as an individual when it's like
how much they could actually
the companies are responsible for a lot of it. Like we think of how much like gets shipped out with Amazon or whatever. And but then also the billionaires who are just like infringing on our free speech a little bit and getting a little too involved in our government.
Yeah,
and like we're gonna have Elon and Bezos and Zuckerberg. He's a cyborg because he's crazy. We're gonna have them at the inauguration, and like maybe Elon Musk is gonna have I don't know if this is so true, but I saw he might have a office in the White House, and I'm like, we shouldn't have billionaires influencing our politics, because guess what? They're gonna just get more benefits, and we're gonna just continue to get taxed more or whatever it is, and it's gonna be harder for us to rise in society like it already is. I
mean, I think that's one of the scariest things that has come out of all this is the fact that Elon Musk is so entrenched in our politics now. It's literally without question seeing someone who bought his way in.
Yeah, and it's also and who can now have the government do things that benefit him and hurt us. And it's so interesting with like TikTok being sold, knock on wood, that it doesn't actually happen. I mean, we're recording this on Friday. It's supposed to shut down on Sunday. But like people moving to Red Note now, and the comments on Red Note to like American creators were saying like, is it real that, because Red Note is a very Chinese app, and it was like, is it real that Americans can't afford, or they're saying, is it real that Americans have to pay for ambulances, or is that Chinese propaganda? And it's like, oh my God, we are so dark when like something that's really happening is people think that it's propaganda other places because we're the only like Western country
doing it,
or developed country without
reasonable fucking healthcare.
Yeah.
It's so nightmarish that they think it's not real.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're like, we cannot comprehend this. They're like, is it real that vampires are coming down from the sky and like bringing you guys up and chewing on your mouths or whatever it is vampires do, chewing on your necks? Where do vampires bite?
Are vampires chewing on your mouths?
Or
is that just propaganda?
Or is that propaganda? It's like, no, the vampires are here and they are sparkly.
And they are chewing on mouths.
They're chewing on mouths. Well, that's a pretty depressing note to end things on.
Okay, so say something happy.
Dot's Pretzel Twist.
Oh, yeah, we did discover these. Yeah.
Best food I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, they're very, very good.
If any ingredient in a Dot's Pretzel Twist ever gets banned, I'll say, no. Let me have this toxin in my body because it's the best thing I've ever eaten.
Yeah, they are very tasty. I kind of wish that this was a promotion for them, because this would have been a seamless promotion. It's not.
Wow, it's not.
But it would have been a seamless promotion.
Dots, I love you.
Yeah, you guys are good.
Okay, well, thank you, baby, for being on the pod. Thank you, Feral Friends, for listening. And we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.